Welcome all, Ben here from EWPRO. Starting with the DXY on the daily, nothing's changed since last week. I'm looking for, whenever this wave finishes here, I'm looking for either 3 up or 5 up for like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 as a 333 or 555 correction before we get the A, B, C. So that's long term. Shorter term, I'm still looking at this in here to see if we get any more downside in here. Yeah, see from last week we were looking at a correction here for another one down. Unfortunately, we did get it like an A, B, C. It never went up and broke this top. Instead, this can become more complex now and we get a larger correction in here because we don't have 3 up. It's just like impulse, 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 and this may be a correction in here, like some sort of an A, B, C in here for another one up, and we get like 1, 2, 3 up, and then 1, 2, 3 as a flat, and then we get an A, B, C. That's what I'm talking about. We may get a larger correction before we get more downside, and because we didn't get this C up in here, it can turn more complex now. So you have to be really careful trading. I would be leaving it alone now. Pretty much, like I mentioned, this may be some sort of a flat here, like an A, a B, and a C in here as a expanding flat, and then we get one up in here. It's really, you know, you could scalp it on the lower time frames. On the lower time frames, you'd be looking for a sell. We have bearish divergence in here. I'd be looking for a correction in here. If you get a correction in here, you can scalp it, but only for 3 down, like for 1, 2, 3 down, because then more than likely we get 1, 2, 3, and it turns more complex. Something like this, and then more downside. So we're just waiting to see what sort of correction we're going to get in here. If it's corrective, we can look for a sell. If we get a nice impulse up in here and a bullish setup, well, then we can go for that flat like this A, B, C, and this A, B, and a C up in here, and you know, you get a buy set up for that. It's really just scalping. Yeah. If you're inexperienced, you'd be leaving it alone. AU on the daily, we're looking for buys, and we're looking for a retracement in here. If you've been following me for a while, you'll see that we've been looking for a retracement in here and then a buy. I'm still not convinced this is over. You have to be really careful here. There was setups on the lower time frame to buy, but that's already gone. At this stage, as I'm doing this video, you know, there's a possible bear hidden here. So we can get another one down. We don't have any bullish divergence. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get another one down before we get the buy set up to buy, and all this is correction. So really, you've got to be careful with the buy at this stage. There was a little flat in here, you know, for an A, well, a WXY, getting an X2, and we get a Z up. Looking at the smaller time frames, though, you know, we may just get 3 up in here, like that 1, 2, 3, and then some sort of a larger correction. We sort of have 3 in here. 1, 2, 3. We can get 1, 2, 3 up in here, and then 3 or 5 down in here for a complex correction before we get more upside. So this can turn more complex. You could look for this up in here and scalp it. Me personally, I would be waiting for the complete correction and then looking for the buy. And like I said, I'm not convinced it's over yet. the downside. You know, it's possible that this turns bearish and breaks the low with a bear hidden. GU, we're looking for the buy. It's looking very bullish up here still. You know, we don't have any bearish divergence in here, so I'm looking for a larger correction in here and then possibly another one up. Again, if you've been following me for a while, we didn't get any bearish divergence in here, and we had that ball hidden in here, and we were looking to buy this to go and break the top. This is one of the trades here, and there was another one in here to buy this. We lost all the bearish divergence again, and we're getting another correction. Last week I was talking about we're looking for a correction back to the 50 fib. But yeah, at this stage, it's a buy. It definitely is a buy on this time frame. If we get a correction in here, we can buy it, and hopefully it goes and breaks that top. And this is all of it like some sort of an A, B, C here. But yeah, at this stage you can only buy it on the lower time frames. Sort of getting 5 up in here on the M15, but yeah, you'd be looking for that larger H1 correction before you buy. EU, my chart's looking pretty messy, but you can see what I was looking at. We're looking at that A, B, this C up in here. It hasn't got to that 100 fib yet, and then we're looking for an A, B, C. We've been looking at the lower time frames for a correction in here for this wave 5. We're still looking for that wave 5. So that's a lower trend line, but we do have the time factor here now, so definitely can look for buy. It's more on the lower time frames, but basically you can buy. We have bullish divergence in here. We got a nice impulse up. If you get a correction in here on the lower time frames, you can look to buy to go and break the top. I would be targeting the I haven't got it on there. I'll be targeting the 161.8 and the 123.6. I'll just put them on there. I'll put the targets on there. Going back to the H4, might take this one off so you can see. So yeah, I'd be targeting that 123.6 as first target, and the second target that 161.8. NU, we're looking for upside. This has become very complex in here. As a correction, we're looking for some sort of an A, a B. Well, we're still in this correction. More than likely the B is still over here somewhere, but we're looking at this. We got three down in here, and so I'm looking for that A, B, C up on the daily. H4, we still can get a wave 5 up. The correction has become a bit larger than this wave 2, but either way, this is still looking very corrective for another one up. Very similar to EU. We'll be looking for a buy. Yeah, you have to be very careful with this because of what happened on the lower time frames in here. It wasn't a nice impulse up, it's sort of 3 up breaking this top. So you do have to be quite careful. This doesn't look really impulsive, that's all, on the lower time frame. So it's not as good as EU, but yeah, if you got some sort of a correction in here, you could look for another one up. I'd be very careful. I'm not convinced it's going to go from here, and this is the end of the wave 4 on the H4, or the end of the correction. So yeah, you've got to be quite careful. You'd be going down onto the lower time frames. You'd be looking for a bulk hidden in here. Maybe it's on the M30. So M30 is what I would be looking at if I was looking to buy. We got a bulk hidden in here. So as long as this low here holds, I'd be looking for the buy. If this price action comes down, breaks that low, well, then I'd be looking for a sell, because that will take out the possible bulk hidden that's forming now. GY on the daily, still nothing's changed. I'm still looking for a move up in here. We do have that possible bull hidden on this one. There is that still possible bull hidden, so I'm sort of expecting a deep correction to this, or possibly even breaking the top if that bull hidden plays out. I'm not expecting that bull hidden to play out though. H4, nothing's changed. That was during the week. There was a C up in there that I got, but nothing's changed. I'm still looking for this C up. I'm looking at some sort of an A, B, C expanding flat in here, and then we get that A, B, C. Just waiting for a nice correction in here. Take note of this correction, how deep this C wave is when we have a look on the H1. Sort of in the group, we're looking for this. It did go and break the top only just, and then come down, took me out break even. I was looking for like an A, B, C up in here, but that's over. And now we're getting this larger expanding flat, very similar to what's happening on the H4. So yeah, it's not looking bullish at all, but yeah, if I do get a bullish setup, I'd be looking for the buy for this flat, looking at the price action on the lower time frames. It just doesn't look bullish. This little bit in here looks a little bit bullish, and we may get one up in here for some sort of an A, B, C up in here, but then we got a sharp move down. So I just expect more than likely it would be choppy, and then possibly another one down. Could even go and break the low, and this flat fails. Yeah, I'd be leaving it alone at this stage. UY, we're looking for a correction. Well, there's two scenarios here. If you've followed me for quite a while, ever since we got this move down in here, I've been looking at all this as a B wave. It went a lot further than I thought. I just was looking at an A, B, C here, and then another bull hidden here, and it went up and broke the top. But I've always been looking at this as a possible B wave, and then we get that A, B, C down, and then more upside. That's longer term if that plays out and we get a buy setup. In the meantime, I'm looking at like an A, B, C in here, some sort of a correction for an A, B, C. Really can only sell this. The way I teach to trade, we can really only sell it, which I'm not going to go into here, the reasons why that is. Even though there is that possible flat for another one up in here. You know, the way I teach the trade, we can only sell it. As you can see, I'm looking for. We sort of got like 1, 2, 3 down in here, breaking the low. So I'm looking for a 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for that C up, this C up in here, and then I'll look for a sell. At this stage, I'd be looking for the buy, just as a scalp in that wave C up on the H4. We are starting to get a lot of bullish divergence in here. So, you know, any opportunity you get to buy, you definitely can look for the buy on the lower time frames. Again, it's not giving us anything yet. In fact, on the M15, we're getting a bear hidden here. So we may just get a correction in here, another one down, breaking that low. Then if you get a nice impulse up, a correction, then you can look for the buy. The sell, I mean, if you get a correction in here for the sell, well, we already have bullish divergence, so I wouldn't be looking to sell it, but I wouldn't be surprised because we have that bear hidden that we do get another lower low. I'm more interested in the buy. So. CAD, I'll just go over this last bit. This ending point of wave Y here, we still within that. It's all corrective. Very long drawn out correction. This high has not been broken yet. Looking at this last section, we got a nice impulse down, so I'm looking for a correction and another one down on the daily. H4, there was a couple of buys in it, but all break even, which is to be expected. We're waiting for a correction, waiting for some sort of a correction in here, and then I'd be looking for the sell. Just waiting for this correction to be over, and this can take a couple of weeks, on the H4 chart. It's looking bullish, but do you want to buy it? If you're buying, you're just scalping. You're buying into a correction. It's like this here. We had a nice impulse here. It took off and then come back down. If you didn't take your profit, well, it's a break even. So the same thing applies here. You sort of got like 1, 2, 3 down in here, impulse up. If you get a buy set up, well, you're just scalping a buy to break that top, take profit, because more than likely it'll come back down. And it could be quite choppy. And I'm expecting it to be choppy as a correction. So yeah, I'd be leaving it alone at this stage until we get a complete correction in here, and then I'll be looking for the sell. The Swissy, I've got a lot of fibs on here. Trade this quite a bit, so no, nothing's changed. I'm looking at that A, B, C, and this can turn even more complex. There's a few different ways this could play out. We may get an impulse up in here and a correction, another one up here, 3 breaking the top, like 1, 2, 3 breaking the top, and then we get a C down as some sort of a larger flat, like an A, B, C, before we get the larger A, B, C. So that's one scenario. Another scenario is we get a correction in here and we get one down. So we get 1, 2, 3 breaking the low, and then an A, B, C up here as a running or expanding a flat before we get another one down. So there's a few different scenarios here at this stage. Again, there was a trade in there that we took on the lower time frames, but yeah, it's not going. There was a buy in there to buy. It didn't really go. Longer term, if you've been following me for a while, we got 5 down here and we lost that bullish divergence. So I'm looking for a larger correction, some sort of a larger correction before we get more downside, like 5, 3, 5. So again, there's a couple of different scenarios here. Does this turn correction in here and we get another one down for like 1, 2, 3, and then a larger correction before we get more downside? Or, is this all the B wave, like 1, 2, 3 here, and we get A, B, C up from here? Well, that's what I was looking for in this trade during the week. I was looking for this scenario here where we get this one up now, but it come back and took me out, break even. Well, I took half off, but yeah. So the H1, it's a buy. You can only buy it. We have a ball hidden in here, so definitely be looking to break that top. It's really just a scalp. It's more on the M30, I think it was, or the M15, but yeah. So this was the trade in here we were looking at. We're looking at this A, B, C, and then an A, B, C. That played out. Second half come back, took me out. I got in around here somewhere. But again, we have that ball hidden here. If you're not in this, there's a little trade in there that I'm on to go and break the top. It's mainly just a scalp. This is very corrective, and we can see that by the way the corrections are. Take this arrow off here. Because we're getting a correction after a correction, we're getting a very similar correction to this in here. Very similar correction. So, we get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up as an ending diagonal or some sort of complex correction before we get more downside. So yeah, if you're buying this, which you've probably already missed on the lower time frames, you're pretty much waiting for this top to be broken, get bearish divergence, a nice impulse down, and you'd be looking to sell to break the low. Well, I'd be looking to sell to break the low, but at this stage I'm in that buy, like I said. EG, we're just looking for a buy on the daily time frame, but this is very corrective. Like I've said for the last couple of weeks, this is looking very corrective. There's a few different scenarios on this as well, because this is looking corrective in here. We got like an impulse correction, impulse, and then we get another impulse up here for an A, B, C as your flat, and then you get another one down. At this stage, this is looking very corrective. So not that I'd be looking for the sell. I wouldn't be looking for the sell at these lows, but it's looking corrective. I'm waiting for the buy. Ideally, wherever this ends, get a break of the low, nice impulse up, and I'm only interested in the buy when we get this impulse up and a correction, and then I'll buy. Until that happens, I'm pretty much staying out of this. I don't want to sell this because of where we are on the daily chart at lows. I'm only looking for the buy, and I've got to be patient to wait for that buy. So I'll leave that there. WTI, put this out a while ago when we were coming down in here. This has come down a little bit further than I thought, but I'm still looking for this structure, like an A, B, C in here, A, B, C, A, B, C. Larger correction before we get another one down. We got this like 5 down in here. Didn't get any bullish divergence, so I was just looking for a larger correction, which we got, and then more downside. That's exactly what happened. Now we're looking for buys in here. Get a buy in here and buy for at least an A, B, C. And if we're lucky, it goes up and breaks the top, and this is all the correction on the daily. But I'm not convinced that'll happen. I think it'll turn more complex like I've got it, like I've shown you. But looking for the buy. this is quite choppy. It's not really giving us nice setups to buy. It hasn't. I've been trying to get in this. Now it looks like you can only buy it at this stage. It's a very choppy impulse. Like it's quite choppy. So yeah, you got to be quite careful. But wherever this ends, I want to start to see a correction. If I get a correction, well, then I'm going to look for a buy setup to buy. At this stage, there's a little flat in here. You can probably see it. On the lower time frames, I'd be looking at an A, B, C as a flat. If you get a little bullish setup in here on Monday, you can look to buy to go and break the top. More than likely, if we get a higher high, we'll start to get bearish divergence, and I think we may already have bearish divergence. Oh no, we did lose it over here, but that's why I'm sort of looking at another one up too. You know, this was very deep, so we got some sort of a flat in here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're looking for that fifth one up. You can see this correction here is very similar to this expanding flat, and we're getting an expanding flat over here. So like I said, if you go down onto the lower time frames, look for a buy setup. I'll be looking to buy it to break that top. Then after this top's been broken, which I dare say it will, I'd be looking for a larger correction. And this is the one I'm you know, this is what I don't want to miss, this buy in here. So gold, nothing's changed since I spoke last week. You know, we were looking at, you know, this was looking very bullish here for the last couple of weeks. I've been looking at a buy here. Not to really buy, but, you know, I said, you know, we'll probably get a spike up to that 161.8. We got that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're targeting that 123.6, which hit the target. And this was looking bullish in here just to spike up and get that second target, that 161.8. It's gone a little bit further, but even still, I'm only looking for sells. On the daily, we have that bearish divergence, so it's only a matter of time before this falls over. I don't want to be buying at the top of the market. We already got the 5 up on the H4. We had that bull hidden in here, that bull hidden there to go and break the top. It did that, gave another correction over here for more upside. You know, you could have brought this if you wanted to. I stayed out of it because of where it is in the market. You know, on the daily time frame, it's right at the top of the market. But yeah, it's gone. If you know, I wouldn't recommend it, but you know, you could look for a wave 5 up. You got some sort of a flat in here. You get 1, 2, 3. You wait for a wave 4, and then you trade that wave 5 up on the H1. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking for, and I'd be looking for a bull hidden in here to confirm a fifth wave up, and then yeah, you'd be targeting the. Yeah, I can't draw it yet but once you get this wave 4, you'll be targeting the 123.6 and the 161.8 is your first and second target. Silver, this one was still okay to trade this Z up. We got the time factor in here now, like I've mentioned. We got like 1, 2, 3, 4. We're looking for this fifth one up to the 123.6 and the 161.8 as your first and second target. If you've been following me for the last few weeks, you'd know we were looking for buys. We got a nice impulse up. We were waiting for a correction in here, back to the 50 fib, went back to the 61.8. That's fine. And now we're getting that, this A, B, C. I expect this to turn motive, of course. 5 breaking the top. Like we'll probably get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. So end of wave 3 more than likely will end around this. It'll find resistance around this 123.6. You get a wave 4 and then you get a wave 5 up to that second target, basically. You got to wait for a correction. If you're not already in it, you got to wait for a correction. You'll be looking at this as your impulse up. You wait for a correction, 50 fib retrace of this, and then start looking for your correction for, you'll be looking for 5 up here, an impulse up in there as well. So yeah, you got to wait for a correction if you're looking to buy now. So Bitcoin's pretty difficult because we got that like 1, 2, 3. I was looking for a wave 4 and a wave 5 up here. It never went and broke the ending point of wave Y. Instead, we're getting all this as a correction. We're trying to work out what sort of correction we're getting here. Is this over? Is this correction over? I was expecting this to go from here, but it never did. We sort of got 3 up in here. Impulse down. I'm sort of looking for a correction in here. I was looking for a correction in here for another one down for like an A, B, C. So I was looking for a complex correction, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then like 3 or 5 up in here, and then more downside, like and then the downside to continue on this correction. Well, this whole correction. I still can only buy this. Following the rules that I put in place, how I teach people to trade, we can only sell, well, on this time frame, H4, we can only look for a sell. Like I said last week, we got an impulse down in here, so I'm looking for a correction and another one down because we only had 3 up in here. I was expecting that one to go from there, but it never did. The only other way we can look at it, which doesn't really suit the price action, but we could look at it as a flat here, like 1, 2, 3. But even if we get an expanding flat in here, I'd only be expecting like 1, 2, 3 and another one down because of the size of this correction. Usually if they're motive, they don't give much of a correction. They're, there was buy setups on this in the group. This is a wave 5 up in here. We had a bull hidden here. This is all over. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, getting a 5th wave up in here, and even this looks like it's an extended wave on the M15. So we got some sort of a I'll just adjust the chart a bit. So we got 1, 2, 3. You wait for a wave 4 and a wave 5 up if you're scalping on the M15. So it looks like we're going to get an extended wave in H1 wave 5. S&P, I'm not going to go into too much. It's like gold. It's right at the top of the market. We're looking for buys, but on the lower time frames. But me personally, I wouldn't be buying up here. It's fine too because we had that flat in here. Bull hidden and all the rest of it to go and break the top. But yeah. So we were looking for buys. We had that nice impulse up in here. Looking at that as the expanding flat, There was a sell in here. It didn't go and break the low, but that's fine. Got a nice impulse up now. You can only buy it now. There was a little sell in there to break the low. It didn't break the low. It was around non-farm payroll, I believe. Oh no, I'm not sure, but yeah, in here this was looking bearish to go and break the low. We got a spike down. It didn't quite break the low, so after it didn't break the low, you can only look at it as some sort of expanding flat for 1, 2, 3. You wait for a wave 4, and then you trade a wave 5 up at this stage. I might leave. I'll quickly go over the indices. This has gone on a fair bit though, this video. So we're looking at that A, B, C in here. It hit the 100 fib target. It actually went a little bit further than the 100 fib. H4, we were looking for a sell. I had that nice impulse down, and I was just looking for a correction in here. I still got the fib on, 50 and 61.8. We got a very deep correction though. This may turn into a larger correction, and we get like 1, 2, 3 up, breaking this top. Nice impulse down, creating the flat, and then more upside. If you're looking to trade this now, you're looking for a wave 5. You're looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, and looking to trade a wave 5 up. You have to wait for the correction now. The FTSE, it's still looking very bullish in here, like I've mentioned. There is this time factor here. It's still, still within that time factor. You can only buy this, and I dare say there's a flat here. It was, we had an impulse down in here, impulse up. It didn't go up and break that top until over here. So we got like 1, 2, 3 breaking this top. So more than likely this is a flat, an A, a B, a C as an expanding flat. It's very choppy in here. Like it'd be very difficult to trade, but I wouldn't be surprised if this flat plays out and we get an A, B, C. It's going to be very difficult to get a buy set up in here, well, the way I trade, because this is very choppy. If this was the end of the flat, this flat here that I'm looking at, it should be an impulse up, but it gave a very deep correction. Just broke the top and it's giving another correction, so it's giving a correction. That's why I don't like it for this flat, but you can really only buy it. We got this impulse up in here. So, very deep correction, you'd be in a buy, and unless it's taken you out, you'd still be in that buy. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to trade. I would be leaving alone, but lastly, the DAX. The DAX has gone and broken the top. So we're waiting for a correction in here to buy. And that's if, I wouldn't even be buying here. I wouldn't even be buying. But it's a buy. If you're going to trade it, you can only look for a buy. We had this nice impulse up in here, and we're looking for a correction and a buy. I'm not convinced all this correction is over. I can't see that impulse, and this is all the correction to this impulse here. It was very short in time, but it looks like it's going, and on the lower time frames, I dare say you can only buy this. You got this impulse up in here, you got like bullish divergence and an impulse up, so you'd be looking for a little correction in there on the lower time frames to go and break the top. But yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed this weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.